Yokoso, Japanese Quest Away. Welcome to Japanese Quest. Today, the journey continues. Today, the theme is questions. For the past 2 years on Japanese Quest, we've received many questions about how to learn Japanese, about the tools to use, about Japanese games, all kinds of things. So I figured today, why not just make questions the theme? So today in Japanese Quest, we have 10 questions. By the way, anyone just joining, I am Akira Sensei. I'm a Japanese teacher in the US. This is a channel for learning Japanese from Japanese games. Today, though, the focus will be 10 questions. I kind of boiled down all the questions we've been getting for the past 2 years and just picked 10. So anyone in chat, as I'm running around in Breath of the Wild, can come and answer these questions, and we can hopefully learn from each other. I'll answer the questions too. As you can see, number 1, the first question today. What made you want to learn Japanese? So you can see the question 2 in the bottom right. I'll be running around Hyrule. So we can kind of relax, ask questions, answer questions, and hopefully learn some new resources or inspiration from someone's answer about Japanese. Plus, we're going to kill some bokoblins, or whatever they're called. So number 1, what made you want to learn Japanese? Since we're early in stream, I will start. It wasn't games. It wasn't anime. Honestly, for me, I don't know what it was. There really was no reason. In junior high, they had an option of Spanish and Japanese, 1/4 each. I did that. The Japanese teacher is better. And here I am. Now I'm a Japanese teacher. So what made you want to learn Japanese? That is the first question today. We'll move on after we give people a bit of time to come in and possibly answer that question. Of course, there's more reasons over time. So at first, I had no reason to start learning. But then once you start down that path, you find more reasons. Panda Girl, konnichiwa. So now I'd say I have dozens of reasons for studying Japanese. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. We stumbled into a battle here. Kikomi, konnichiwa. So today the theme is 10 questions. You can see the question in the bottom right. Anyone watching, if you are interested in Japanese language, first question you can answer in chat. What made you want to learn Japanese? そうですね。いい音楽ですね。このゲーム。Yeah, this game has some nice music. So now I'd say I have a lot of reasons for learning Japanese. One of them, to play Japanese games in the original language, to read Japanese books, other Japanese media, like songs, manga. Rich Chef says, I am Japanese, but my family has been in America. No one knows Japanese anymore. Really? So I guess then you could say you want to continue with learning more Japanese or using Japanese for family reasons. Yeah, that could be a good one for a lot of people. I don't have any Japanese family myself. No, fairy. Other reasons, the more I've studied it, the more interesting the language has become. For example, kanji at first I hated, but now kanji is really interesting, I find. Learning words at first I didn't really like, but eventually. Well, now I like it so much, I made a whole leveling system out of it on Japanese Quest. Power level is how many words we've learned. So kind of the further you go, the more reasons you find. I think that goes for anything that becomes part of your life. Like a friend, for example. You might start out and you get along for one reason. Maybe you like the same video game. Maybe you like Zelda. But eventually you'll have more and more reasons. Okay, let's see. Let's take 2 more minutes on this question, then we'll move on to the next one. Anyone else have any answer for question 1? Let's again go to the big screen. See if I can survive on the big screen. So I'm still running around. What made you want to learn Japanese? Answer this question in chat. It might help other people on their Japanese journey, on their Japanese quest. See the question in the bottom right as well. Panda says, Japanese is the easiest language for me to learn, and I really wanted to learn how to make English covers of J-pop. Yeah, very cool. Honestly, that's kind of the reason I started too. I felt like Japanese, at least in junior high when I took it, was easier. Well, when you start out, it can seem kind of easy, because it's like, I felt like Spanish was really weird and grammar was hard, but to me when I started, Japanese was just like drawing pictures. I was like, I can do this. So we just drew kanji. It was very low level. But it was fun. That kind of artistic aspect, I feel like, is kind of fun. Kikomi says, I like Japanese games, anime, and the culture. I want to visit eventually. Yeah, I didn't even mention that one, but visiting or living Japan is a great reason and a great motivator. I'll talk more about that later with a later question. Okay, let's go to the next question. Let's see the full view. Let's see if I can survive here. Okay, next question here. What have been your top Japanese learning resources? Or your Japanese learning sources? I survived somehow. So what have been your top Japanese learning sources? So question 2. Again, I'm boiling down all the questions we've had over the past 2 years in Japanese Quest. Konnichiwa. Rishtash, good answer. You like the Twitch channel, Japanese Quest? Good answer, good answer. I'd like to say this this is more of a supplementary resource, I would say. But we are developing more in the near term YouTube. More direct, straight to the point, not long form educational Japanese videos, so that you can look forward to that if you want to check out our YouTube. Panda says, my university uses Genki books. Yeah, that's a good one. You like Japanese from zero? Yeah, I've heard other people, some people like that better for self-study, I've heard. So good comment there. Rishtash, serious answer, Japanese friends and university. Good answer, CyberT says, I'm still learning Japanese. There's so many Japanese games I want to play. So games themselves then, yeah, it can be a source. Ooh, great suggestion here. Let me make an exclamation point here. Take him. Great resource. So that's probably the best free resource online, or at least the most popular. And then Genki is the most popular paid resource. So check those out for resources. For me, right now, my top source is just reading books on my Kindle. I get the books off Amazon. And just Google searches and just reading online. Japanese websites. Take Him is a free grammar resource, a kind of grammar textbook online. I noticed they have some YouTube videos now too. And it just has some really good grammar explanations on it. So Google it, check it out. Yeah, grade 1, 2, on-key flashcards. Yeah, my main two for top learning resources have really been two things over the years. One, just reading Japanese. Kind of like what we do in the game here. It's funny we've been doing all of this just fighting this rock monster. Going through all these questions. So one, reading. Two, flashcards. I'm not going to say Anki because there's other ones. But I did use Anki for about half of that or more. So number one, reading. Number two, flashcards. And you can do without flashcards. You cannot do without reading. Some people don't like flashcards. You can do without flashcards, but you need reading to be part of it. If you want to learn to read, that is. So highly recommend those two, and they feed off of each other. Reading, reading, reading. Anki, Anki, Anki. Reading, Anki, reading, Anki. It's a feedback loop. Do that for a few years, and you can be fluent in reading in Japanese. Let's look at the chat again here. Yeah, a lot of Anki flashcards. I learned the most when reading Japanese. Yeah, some people just prefer just reading, and that's fine. Cam says, hey bro, watching your VODs for a while, your streams have been helping me a lot with motivation. Good, that's kind of what this stream in particular is for. This one is pure motivation, inspiring each other to find new paths, new strategies in Japanese, new motivation sources. See, motivation, it's all over. It's kind of like a well. There's these different veins of motivation. Look at this hill, covered in motivation. Look at this rock creature. There's a rock of motivation at the top. But together we can take down this rock creature. We can mine these veins of motivation. So let's take this thing down. So any more questions? Any more top Japanese resources? See if I remember how to fight these guys. We've got to get this crystal of motivation off his back. Let's get a swingy swing weapon. So any more resources? We're looking getting back into immersion now. Cool. Kanji cards for university class. Very cool. And making my own kanji flashcards. Sounds good. Let's see here. Let's try this thing out. Yo shot. See, check it out. You find a new source of motivation, and all of these little nuggets of language learning motivation pop out in the form of rubies and amber. It's just that easy. You just have to look. Sentence mining can, yeah, it can definitely be effective. Wow, this guy can hardly even hurt us, it seems. Sentence mining, word mining, all of that can be effective. Maybe let's heal so we stop hearing this sound. There we go. Let's go to our next question. So question 2 is what Japanese learning sources? We've got a lot of good ones. We got Genki for a textbook. We got Take Him for a grammar free resource. And then just reading and flashcards in general. And then just keep doing that every day. So question 3. How did you learn vocab? So how do you learn vocab, or how did you learn vocab? So some questions touched on that already. So how do you, or how did you learn vocab? Panda says, I like learning the language. I like how learning the language affects the culture. Yeah, it's true. And that kind of works for our channel too. Kanji can become... Like kanji, for example, is our emotes on this stream. There are stamps for leveling up when you subscribe. So that's completely true. In a sense, emotes before there were emotes. So CyberKitty for question 3 says, I pick up a lot of vocab from different games and anime. I read and Japanese live movies. Nice. Panda says, hearing a word over and over again and then researching it. Nice. Yeah, for me, vocab, I was very into flashcards. Before there was Anki, I just did a different website called, I think, Kantango. I'm not sure if it exists anymore. But then Anki, when I was studying for N1 and passed it. And then, yeah, I used to read the dictionary. I'd be on the train in Japan when I lived there for 2 years, just reading the dictionary, marking it up, marking by each word. And then I'd go back to it and add the words to a notebook or to flashcards, and then just repeat. The main thing is doing it every day. Find a system, keep tweaking it until it works well for you, and then just find if you can make some kind of pace or goal. For example, you could say 5 words a day. Maybe later that will level up to 10 words a day. Maybe eventually you get a flashcard system on Anki, you can go 20 words a day. Maybe sometime you're going really hard for like a JLPT level like N2 or N3 or N4, and you go 30 or 40 words a day. I found that the pace can get faster as you get more used to the words because they're more similar to what you're used to. At first it's hard, but eventually I was going 50 words a day. So you can kind of accelerate, I found, if you're hardcore about it. Cam says, I alternate between making Anki cards, just reading, or watching dramas on my YouTube. Yeah, we said those 2 things. Reading, I'll just put an R. And then this time I'll put Anki, because you put Anki, just put an A. But let's put a 3 too. Let's not forget this. Something fun as well is important. So having a fun kind of gear for Japanese I think is good too. It's good to have like a hardcore study mode gear that might be called reading or things in that vein. And then reviewing it in a certain way for vocab with Anki. But then also to unwind, to have fun, just watching something for fun and all that stuff that you learned reading and doing flashcards, you can apply that to the fun thing, whether it's anime or drama or whatever else. So it's important, I think, to have that third gear for motivation. Something fun to do too. Because then you see the kind of light at the end of the tunnel where you can just do this stuff for fun every day. Because eventually it's pretty much all fun. Like I read Japanese books every day, it's just fun. Just the same way I'd be reading in English. Yeah, that's a great comment and kind of the whole reason for this channel existing. Cam says, I never get words until I see them in a fun context. Yeah, this channel, the hope is this is a fun context to see words. And we find the words like this we found in-game. Power level goes up. And the hope is that might work for some people. Find words you might already see, or maybe never did see, in a fun context and then learn it that much more. Panda says, I like having context when learning words so I can use it properly. Yeah, context is so important. That's another thing we try to do in Japanese Quest, is finding words in a fun narrative context. And often I've heard you need to find 7 to 14 different examples or contexts for a word. So really, again, that comes down to reading and finding words in lots of different environments and contexts. And hopefully speaking, too, to see the word pronounced. Cyber Kitty says, felt I got skilled in English. I read a lot of books and movies with no subtitles. Nice. Plan to do the same in Japanese when I'm skilled enough. Yeah, I feel like that's really the reward. Oh, no. This Lionel is trying to stop our... Oh, no, it's good. It's not a Lionel. I thought he's trying to stop our episode today. But this guy can't stop anything. Okay, we'll give 1 more minute to this question. Once we defeat this guy, we'll move on to the next question. So how did you, or how do you learn vocab? Let me think if I can think of anything else that I forgot. Yeah, I do want to stress again using the vocab and talking to people and using the vocab that you practice, because reading is only one part of it. Flashcards is only one part. Applying the vocab is important too. News on YouTube can be quite good as well. Yeah, good suggestion. I recommend subscribing to Japanese YouTube channels and ringing the bell and getting those updates. You can even read those updates in Japanese. I just recently found out about the bell on YouTube. It can be good for reading practice because you can read these titles. Japanese YouTubers put a lot of work into writing these titles. So even that can be a kind of reading practice. Okay, let's go to the next question. So question 3 was how do you learn vocab? Question 4, how do you learn kanji? Or how did you learn kanji? So how do you learn kanji? Similar to vocab, but a little different. A lot of people have their own system. This question may be the top question we've had over the years on Japanese Quest, because everyone, this is a huge hurdle for learning Japanese. Everyone's kind of worried about it, especially at first. It might even stop someone from learning the language, because kanji just seems impossible at the beginning. But really, it's not. And actually, it can really help you to learn Japanese, and it can help you gain motivation in Japanese. So today, let's help people get that motivation, get some ideas. How did you learn kanji? Or how do you learn kanji? So I've been writing my thing that I think the first thing I did that kind of hooked me on the Japanese language in general, it kind of was kanji. In junior high, it just came down to this. Just write the kanji. It's very important to write them. Or if you want to call it, might be even more fun, draw them. It's very important not just to read, but to write it, to feel the stroke order. So number 1, more than anything, I'd say write the kanji. Each one you learn, write it several times, get a feel for it. Find the proper stroke order online. And then again, reading. So see the kanji in their natural habitat again. It shows the importance of just read. Read widely. Read fun things, read boring things. Read things that make you mad, things that make you cry. If it makes you cry, you might remember that kanji. So let's see. Panda says, I have an app that is a flashcard game for meanings. Nice. Yeah, Anki can help a lot with kanji too and other apps. I've heard the kanji study app is very good. I want to learn the meaning first and the kanji word combination second. Yep, that sounds like a pretty good method. CyberKitty says, I take them out of games mostly, write them stroke by stroke. Ooh, great, so you're writing Stroke by stroke, that's the way. No, it sounds perfect. SoCal, konnichiwa. And Panda also says, oh, nice, he bought a calligraphy set. That's one thing I need to do, make it more fun and then really learn that. I found actually there's some YouTubers who do calligraphy and they're really good at it. Follow those people. You can do what they do. You can even do it and publish it on YouTube too. Ate soe. Hosto. Arigato. Thank you very much for the host today. We have 10 questions about Japanese. Welcome everyone from that host. Hello, welcome. Yokoso. Japanese Quest. Welcome to Japanese Quest. Today we are learning about Japanese. We have 10 questions. Right now the question is, how do you learn kanji? How did you learn kanji? どうやって漢字を勉強しますか? So how do you study kanji? How do you learn kanji? That is our question right now today. We have 10 questions about Japanese. Number 1, we have write the kanji. Number 2, read the kanji. And I will say optionally, some people also really like some books that have a system for kanji. One popular one that deserves mention, some people do not like it. So I will say that, but some people really like it. I had already learned 1,000 kanji, just using flashcards and writing them and reading. But I found eventually having a system to learn all 2,000 plus was helpful. And so I found remembering the kanji to be a helpful system. It's also called hisig, the writer of the book. This guy didn't know any Japanese, he didn't know any kanji, and he made his own system to learn all the kanji, 2,000 kanji about, in just 1 month, is what he did. Ichibito, arigato, thank you for the bits. So if he can teach himself 2,000 kanji in 1 month, he didn't know any Japanese, you can do it too. He made a book out of it, and thousands of people have used that system. It's not perfect. He made it for him. For him, it's perfect. So in a way, you need to make your own system, but it can be a big inspiration, I think, to building your own system and using his system and using the pieces you like. I found it to be very helpful. Just not so much every keyword he made, but just the ideas about using each kanji and making a story out of it with the different elements. So welcome everyone, and let's go to question 5. Junkcracker says, don't follow everything he says. Yeah, Hisig didn't have Anki, so since Anki exists now, you can probably learn the readings alongside. Junkcracker, yeah, that could be so, but I'm not sure there's been any research on it, but a lot of people who do Hisig system, remembering the kanji, do the readings first, or do the meanings first because it's just much faster, and then vocab acquisition and learning the readings goes quite quickly. So I didn't go from 0 with that, so I don't really know how that works. I'd like to see research on it, but it's a possibility that there's a logic to that actually being faster over time. But that said, you're right, I did use Anki when I did Hisig. And that made it a lot faster and easier. Plus the website for Remember the Kanji. Kanji Koi. So good points. Okay, let's go to question 5. So we had, how did you learn kanji? Any other answers to that? Alright, wanikani someone mentioned. That could be a good one. Some people love wanikani. Yeah, I did tons of reading before it too, but I found it kind of helped put it all together a bit. Really what it helped for me was, I used to hate kanji when I took Japanese in college, high school. But it made me love kanji. Because I just made them my own in a way, making stories out of all of them. Okay, let's go to question 5. Maybe Junkcracker can help us out with this, because Junkcracker is relevant to this question. You'll see why. Don't skip one. Okay, question 5. How did you learn grammar? How do you learn grammar? So how do you learn grammar in Japanese? For the last one too, a shout out to a similar textbook. Kodansha's Kanji Learner's Course is also good. It sucks that it's out of print because, yeah, it did seem good. Yeah, the order is a bit strange, flying, but it works for some people. But yeah, I hear you. So for grammar, take him at the start. That's good advice. Genki as well. Good advice as well for grammar. We mentioned those two earlier for general resources. Junkcracker says for grammar for me was 50-50 take him and Google. Interesting. Can you elaborate on Google? How you use Google to learn grammar? May says I learned a little bit of Japanese grammar by hearing it. Yeah, that's a big one for me, I think, is just reading, hearing, seeing grammar in context. For me, I think, was the most powerful. Because you can read about grammar all day, but until you really see it used over and over again in different contexts, you don't really understand how it works. So my feeling, again, is so many of these questions you can just answer reading or speaking. Yeah, again, so many of these I feel like it's reading and context. But I think some good explanations too in things like Genki and Take Him. And Panda mentions Japanese from Zero, mentioned again too. And let's give a shout out to Junkcracker. They have a channel on YouTube that they narrate called Game Grammar. So let's give a shout out to Game Grammar. You can learn grammar from games. So check them out on YouTube. They're probably the most similar channel to Japanese Quest that exists. When I started this channel, I did my research. Many people had tried doing a format similar to this. The only one that stuck with it that I noticed was Game Grammar, which is very cool. So check them out. I think they've been going around 4 years, so they have a lot of videos to look at. And they do live streams and new content. You can learn grammar from Japanese live. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, that's true. Junkcracker just joined. They are on Twitch. No, they are on YouTube. Although Junkcracker is on Twitch, so Junkcracker you can check out on Twitch. They were just streaming Danganronpa. If you ask questions, Junkcracker can teach you some grammar too, I'm sure. So lots of different ways to learn grammar. But I'd say my top for me have been... Ooh, there is one more. Let's go to this camera down here. Because this is a big one. Look at the camera in the lower left. Dictionary of Japanese Grammar. This is the best grammar dictionary there is. Google it. Find it on Amazon. If you're serious about Japanese grammar, there's 3 of these. This is the basic one. This is the best one. Get this. When I lived in Japan, I read this cover to cover. And it really helped me in Japanese N2 to pass that. It has great grammar explanations. Let's see, can I do a full camera here? All right. Dictionary of Basic Japanese Grammar. Great book. Check it out. Look, I totally marked this book up. I believe it should be marked. Yeah, see, I would just find the different points. They're all marked up. You have things here like hoshi, to want. They have great examples, great breakdown. I marked this whole book up when I lived in Japan. Highly recommend it. Other books that are good, that aren't just for grammar though, are, like people mentioned, Genki, and Take Him is essentially for grammar. The other two for those, there's a intermediate and advanced. If you look up the beginning one, you'll find the other ones. I'd say the first two are probably good enough generally, unless you want to be completionist with the really advanced stuff. Yeah, Amabi, you're right. I forget about Amabi, but Amabi is good as well. And I noticed that the Dictionary G Show now links sometimes Imabi and Take Him. Okay, let's go to question 6. Question 6. This is a big one that I hear a lot. What motivates you to keep learning Japanese? I see this question all the time. Here, on Reddit, on the internet in general, in person. So what motivates you to keep learning Japanese? Maybe during this question we can help motivate each other to learn Japanese, or really to motivate people to do anything they want to do, any goal or interest. What motivates you to keep learning Japanese or to learn Japanese? So that is question 6. Today we have 6 questions. Anyone just joining, I'm a Japanese teacher. My name is Akira. Today we are focusing more on questions, talking about Japanese. Usually we learn Japanese from the game, pulling out words from the game. Panda says, I want to live in Japan one day. Great motivation. And then if you go to Japan, that itself can become a huge motivation. That's really the thing that first flipped the switch for me to want to learn Japanese in a big way, was when I went to Japan for 2 weeks during university on a class trip. Junkcracker says it's fun, I guess. The more I learn, the more there is to learn. It's exciting. Yeah, I agree with that too. SoCal, my time living there motivates me, and how much your world opens up the more you learn, as with many languages. Great comment, I agree, for me too. CyberKitty, I lose motivation. When I lose motivation, I just think of a movie. No retreat, no surrender when it comes to learning Japanese. There are so many things that don't get translated. That's a great one. Yeah, you can read things that literally don't exist in other languages. You can find a whole other world with that language. That's a really good one. I read all my books in Japanese. A lot of them are not in English. So that's a huge one for me. Junkcracker, I don't think that's that weird. I'm not sure that I want to ever live in Japan again either. I mean, I did live there, but part of why this stream exists, this stream is for people that maybe will never even go to Japan, but still want to learn Japanese and still maybe want to get fluent in Japanese. I don't live in Japanese. I haven't lived in Japanese for over 10 years. But I still became a Japanese teacher. I still have gotten a lot better at Japanese. And other people can too. The hope was other people can be inspired, motivated to learn more. Even if you never go to Japan, you can get a lot out of the language, learning Japanese. Want to be able to read original mangas, great comment, like JoJo. Reading the train signs when I was in Japan. Reading stuff in the original language, playing Japanese games. Great comments. I want to go to university in Japan. Also a great comment. Yeah, that's the one thing I kind of wish I did do. I never did. I did the JET program in Japan for 2 years, which was a great experience. I like seeing the world differently in my home country. Great comment, too. And building on that, for me, I like thinking differently. It gives you a different way of thinking. A new language... There's a quote, a new language is like gaining a new soul. It's literally a new way of thinking, a new perspective on the world, on life, on yourself. So it's kind of like a new creative channel that you can use. That's a huge one for me. So really, there's a huge creative motivation for me with Japanese. And that's kind of tied into this channel as well. Visiting Japan and talking to Japanese people, great comment. Constantine, after lurking on your YouTube vids, I can finally catch you. Ah, konnichiwa. Good to see you. Caught us on an interesting ep. Today we have 10 questions about Japanese. So what motivates you to keep learning Japanese? We're about halfway through. The more languages you learn, the higher state of satisfaction one reach. I agree, it can help you make you a more rounded, a more worldly person. Yeah, SoCal, good comment. When things just finally click, that's a very nice one. Some great answers for the motivation here. I feel like kanji is the one thing that makes Japanese hard to translate. I read a book once where the author made a joke by writing seiseki, like grades, and they wrote it a different way. Ah, interesting. Yeah, different variant. Huh. Yeah, and I feel like kanji actually can be a motivator, though. Because each kanji you learn, you're kind of connected not just to Japanese, but to ancient Chinese culture. It's very cool. It's romantic, in a way. Connected to these ancient symbols that are essentially just codified ideas. There's something very powerful and romantic about it, for me at least. Maybe that's kind of sappy, but that's how I feel about it. Huh. Interesting. And again, back to the theme of how it's important to read, to study every day if you're serious about the language. Yeah, that's a really good one. That's kind of what I was thinking. We were talking about opening your world, but that word too, they make you more empathetic. It's maybe my favorite English word. So I want to write it down. Empathy can go up from learning another language because in a way it forces you to walk in someone else's shoes, in the shoes of another culture. You speak their words, you kind of are speaking something that's very personal to someone else. So I agree with that. I mean, it might be a bit of a stretch in some cases, but I think there's an element of that, for sure. Can you ask a question as we are answering questions as well? Yeah. I don't totally know what you mean by that question, but yeah, I can change the question, or someone else, if you mean... Yeah, I could change the question, or other people could, in theory, ask questions. I don't totally understand your question, but... kanji is fun for me, because I'm a visual learner. Yeah, that can be motivating too. Right. Yeah, at the end we might have time for a few additional questions, but if we're going to do that... Yeah, I think mastering a language is really a lifelong thing, so I kind of agree. It's really a lifelong journey, which is kind of the theme of Japanese Quest. It's a journey that just keeps going. The cool thing about that journey, you can have nakama, party members on that journey. You can learn from each other. Let's go to the next question here. So next question... So what are your favorite Japanese video games? This one we've talked about a lot on this channel, obviously, because we play Japanese video games. We learn Japanese from Japanese video games. So what are your Japanese video games? The top, I don't know, 1 or 2 or 3. I see Persona 4 for the first one mentioned. The first one that comes to mind for me is the first one I played. Final Fantasy X was my first full game in Japanese I played. Final Fantasy, Persona, Pokemon. This game we're playing right now, Breath of the Wild, is a great one. Chrono Trigger, Rune Factory games, Harvest Moon, Dragon Quest, great. Great comments. Let me think. The Xenoblade games, the first one especially, I really enjoyed. We started this stream with Xenoblade 2. Sekiro, Okami, great comments. So what are your favorite Japanese video games? I recommend playing them in Japanese if you get the chance. Even if you don't understand what's happening, it can be a fun experience just to pick up a few words here and there. That's what I did first, playing games in Japanese. I would only understand, say, like 20% at first. Fire Emblem, nice. Good suggestions, all. Yeah, Junkcracker, I think here again is talking about mastering a language. 10k hours. Eventually, it just kind of starts to click. So really, it's just putting the time in. Doing it every day. And part of that can be doing fun things, which can be video games, like this current question here. Steins Gate. That's a good one. Jumpcracker played that one here on Twitch. Final Fantasy XIV, nice. Yeah, that was just the same as me when I started playing Final Fantasy in 10 in Japanese, but still, it felt worth doing. Yeah, Steins Gate was good. For this one, I suppose I should look at my list of games, too. If I rank these games by Nagaku Osondajun, the longest played. So these are some of my favorite games. Breath of the Wild, number 1. Xenoblade 2, number 2. Octopath, number 3. Tetris, Demo, number 4. Xenoblade 2, in English, number 5. Stardew Valley, number 6. So all these games. This one I wanted to mention, Raging Loop, was my favorite visual novel on the Switch I played. Mario Odyssey, number 8. Another visual novel, number 9. Seiken Densetsu Collection, number 10. Shogi, number 11. Mario Kart 8, number 12. All good games. So good suggestions, everyone. Let's go to question number 8. Question number 8. So question 7 was, what are your favorite video games? Question 8 is, what are your favorite Japanese foods? This can also be a motivation, going back to the earlier question. The food, the games, the culture can also motivate you in the language. So let's think about foods. What are your favorite Japanese foods? Again, today we have 10 questions. These are all the top questions we've had in the past 2 years on Japanese Quest. So first thing out of the gate is takoyaki. Oh, nice. Constantine, you want to play Xenoblade 2 because of me? Nice. Yeah, I love the game. It's a great game. So, SoCal. I actually don't know that food that she mentioned there. Okonomiyaki is a great one. Sushi. It's cheaper in Japan. Go to Japan, get some sushi. Kitsune tofu, nice. You can go back and watch the VOD if you didn't get the time for those visual novels. Mayumi. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, Raging Loop is the one I mentioned. Also, someone mentioned Steins Gate. But yeah, you can check out the VOD on Twitter if you want to see that stuff and pause it. Caramucho. Snack item? Or huh. So top foods. My top foods, my first thing that comes to mind is ramen. Probably tonkotsu ramen. Popular, like the famous food of Fukuoka. The pork belly ramen. Also, like other people said, okonomiyaki. Sukiyaki as well. I did a homestay for a month in Kyoto. My host mom made sukiyaki, and that was my favorite. So I loved that. It's basically just a stew that you put lots of yummy things into. Like vegetables, meats. You dip it in egg or dashi, like sauce sometimes. Really good. So, any other answers? What are your favorite foods? Maybe we'll find some of your favorite foods in the grass here. I know you can find rice in the grass in this game. I'm a fan of rice and rice bowls in Japan. Like, yeah, oyakodon, chicken and egg on rice. That's a good one. Donburi, rice bowls. Omuraisu, nice. Katsudon. Lots of good suggestions. Let me think if I'm missing any food. Oh yeah, yakiniku I love. That's like, kind of like Korean barbecue. Yeah, some Korean foods in Japan are really big. Like kimchi was really good. I found that first when I was in Japan. Yeah, subs are half off today on Twitch. That's right. For this month, I think until the 24th or something. Yeah, yakisoba, yakiniku, all the yaki things essentially are good. Yakitori. Okay, good suggestions. Let's go to question number 9. We're almost up to our full 10 questions. Let's go to the next question here. What are your favorite manga / anime? So what are your favorite manga? What are your favorite anime? If you don't have any, that's fine. If you don't have any, what are your favorite other things in Japanese culture? That's fine too. Remember, not everyone is into this stuff who studies Japanese. But this has been a big question on this channel for the past 2 years, so that's why this is one question today. So what are your favorite Japanese manga / anime? This could be a big motivation too, so let's motivate some people. Maybe they can find their new favorite manga today. Just go for your like top 2, top 3, top whatever. Pokemon, sure, that can count. Slam Dunk, that's a great one. Suramu Dunk. I love basketball, so I love that one too. I saw the anime. Courageous, I agree with you. And yeah, that's a great series too by Junkcracker. The writing in that one is very good. I'm into good writing. It's a good suggestion, the Monogatari series. I'm partial to Nisei Monogatari. Death Note, great suggestion. Ghost in the Shell. Some great suggestions there. Berserk. Oyasumi. Pun Pun. I don't know that one. One Piece. Cool. Some good suggestions. So what else? I see Elven Leads. These are so many I don't see, so you can just look in chat and see those. Yeah, I see Demon Slayer in Japanese. Kimetsu no Yaiba. It's a new popular one. Hunter x Hunter, No Game, No Life, Made in Abyss. So this is a popular question. It seems lots of manga and anime popping up. For me, I'll kind of do it in 2 parts, maybe 3 parts. When I was young, I liked... So I'll do it 3 parts. When I was young, I liked Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, back in junior high. Akira as well. That's where I got my name, Akira, my Japanese name. That was my name in high school, my high school Japanese class, from the movie Akira. So chapter 2 for my answer would be when I lived in Japan, roughly 10 years ago. Then I saw Naruto and One Piece for the first time, got into those. And it's just sometimes fun to watch a long thing, get exposed to a lot of Japanese content when you're starting out. More recently? Well, right now what I'm watching, Vinland Saga on Amazon, I like a lot. I still watch One Piece. School Rumble when I was in Japan, I enjoyed a lot. Oh yeah, Gaki no Tsukai, I love comedy show. That's not anime, but yeah, great suggestion. They did the No Laughing series. And then GTO as well, I discovered back then when I was in Japan. I love that. Since I taught in Japan, that was really good for me at the time. Ah, cool. Cabbage is waiting for Vinland Saga. Sounds good. Check out Fire Squad. Yeah, I saw that pretty high up in Crunchyroll. I'll have to check that out now that you mentioned it. I'm partial to slice of life anime. Ooh, another one I need to mention. This will be the one I write on the screen because I'm biased. Natsume. Natsume Yujinsho. Natsume's Book of Friends. Maybe my favorite anime, or one of my top 5 for sure. Slice of life, it's about yokai. And it's about a character who is able to see yokai, Japanese mythical creatures. Just has a really nice feel to it. Highly recommend it. It's on Crunchyroll. You can watch for free. So good suggestions, everyone. Let's go to our last question. Our last question of the 10. So good suggestions. I don't know that one, Junkcracker. But Akamon, cool. Yeah, Chihaya Furu, I also like. Chihaya Furu, about Karuta for slice of life. Kind of similar to the other one I mentioned. Okay, let's go to last question, question 10. So let's see what's question 10. Last question. Wait a minute, did I not have a question 10? Shotomatte. Huh. Did I mess up my question 10? Eh? Okay, let's make our question 10 together then. What should question 10 be? I thought I had a question 10. Let's make our question 10 together. Let's make question 10, pick your own question. And we'll answer it on stream. I thought I had one, but maybe not. So choose your own question. So let's go to question 10 then. Let's go back to the game. And Stevie, thank you for the follow. Yokoso, Japanese Quest Away. Chirimbo, konnichiwa. So what do you like least about Japan? Junkcracker says, good question. So what do you like least about Japan? I will say I'm generally a pretty positive person, so my first thought was nothing comes to mind, honestly. But the second thing that comes to mind is that there is some degree of sabetsu in Japan. Sabetsu means like discrimination. There's the feeling that if you're an outsider in Japan, you can never really be Japanese. It's hard to make friends sometimes as a foreigner in Japan. So some of those things can be challenging. Ah, Ketokato, hosto, arigato. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. Junkcracker says the work ethic or the whole... Right. Dedukui wa utareru. So the person that sticks out gets pounded in, so everyone has to kind of be the same. And yeah, that's kind of similar to the one I said too. And the work stuff. Constantine has summoned a dragon. Junkcracker job. Matane. See you later. So good question. Anyone else want to pick a question? You can. So now is the time to ask a question. Today we had 10 questions. The last one you can pick your own question. Cyber says, what I like least about Japan is probably all innocent fishes they get killed every year to make high quality sushi. Fair enough. And dolphins and whales, right? That's fair enough. Yeah, but I would say I kind of agree with what Junkcracker said. In general, the rigid forms of thinking, all the red tape that's very common in Japan. For example, when I worked in a Japanese high school in Japan, sometimes I wanted to do simple things. They were very hard to do in the school because you have to go through lots of hurdles to do them. So I'd say that's one thing. So what is it like living in Japan? Good question from Jusrin. What is it like living in Japan? I'll answer. I loved living in Japan. To me, it was pretty much all positive. It, to me, made life just feel more in general. Every day I felt like I was learning, being exposed to new things. I loved that feeling. Sometimes it's boring because you're a bit isolated, but I liked that too because I could study more. So I'd say to me it was a great experience. I felt like it helped expand my horizons, my perspectives as a person. CyberKitty, what's your best non-anime Japanese movie you've seen? Ooh, good question. I love the movies of Takeshi Kitano. One of them called Hanabi, which means fireworks. I saw in university and I still really like it. It's a 1998 movie, so I really like that. So yeah, good question. The movie Battle Royale I like as well. That was Quentin Tarantino's top movie of the past couple decades. At least it was about 10 years ago. So good question. Do I still live in Japan now? No, I've been living in the US for a while now. Over 10 years now. Methods for avoiding burnout? Find something fun in the language that you can just do that kind of refuels you. Something fun you don't have to like stress out about. That can kind of help balance out the things that might take more energy, I feel. Other movies, Ghibli movies are great. The new movie Your Name was great. Not so new anymore. Those, though, I guess, are anime. Twilight Samurai was good. Any other questions? So what else about living in Japan? I just loved how living in Japan is so easy to travel all over Japan and Asia in general. Like I went to Thailand. I went to Korea. I later went to China and Mongolia on the way back. And Europe. So all of that was a great part of living in Japan at the time. Yeah, the two things I love the most probably that I miss are the trains and the konbini, the convenience stores. I love how at 2 in the morning you can just go to a konbini and get some pork buns or something, get some onigiri. I miss that. Or you can just get the new Jump and read it. What do you want to see in the Beat Breath of the Wild sequel? Great question. What I'd really like to see is to make the world that we're in right now feel more alive. Because I feel like this game is amazing, but the open world could be more alive. It's called the Breath of the Wild. It could be more wild. There could be more breath. What I mean is, I feel like the AI could feel more realistic. The wildlife, the monsters could be more varied and realistic. It's great, but it could be better. I could use less of these guys jumping out, because we don't really need them. If they do jump out, at least have some variety with how they function. So I feel like they could just make the world feel more real in some ways. The conversations could feel more fresh in some ways, maybe. Maybe some more events that happen in the open field that feel more fresh. The quests could be maybe more Witcher-like in being more rounded and story-based and interesting. They could open a Konbini in Breath of the Wild. That could be nice. They could have trains in Breath of the Wild. That could be good. But maybe just for, like, end-of-game options. I'm not even kidding either. Like, imagine if there was a Konbini, like, at the top of this mountain here. You find this secret mountain at the end of the game, and there's just a Konbini up there. Like a 7-Eleven. And they, like... It's a product placement, but it doesn't matter because it's freaking awesome. You can just go there and get items like onigiri. You can get ramen there. You can get Jump comics. All in the game. Like, I'm completely serious. Someone tell this to Nintendo. Get a Konbini in Breath of the Wild. You will make hella money from that. Just because people will think the game is cool, more people will buy it. Plus merchandising through some kind of product thing with 7-Eleven or whatever. Why not? If it's just endgame content, why not? Then have a train that goes there through the mountain or something. Nintendo, you do that, you'll make $50 million. Just a tip. Zelda Jump comics, yeah, that could work. Anyone else? What would you like to see in Breath of the Wild? So I will do one more question. Let's do one more question. $11. What would you like to see on Japanese Quest? This can be a certain kind of video content that we'd have on YouTube, for example. Can be a theme. It can be a game. Can be what kind of video you'd like to see us make. For example, this is a top 10 question. Could be another idea like that. What kind of content would you like to see on Japanese Quest? So what would you like to see on Japanese Quest? Bonus question, question 11. What would you like to see on Japanese Quest? So Mayu answering for Breath of the Wild, weapons don't break these. I agree with that. More spooky things for this game, I agree with that too. So what would you like to see in the future on Japanese Quest? So in real life content? Content POG, what's that mean? Fire Emblem, maybe. Yeah, we have considered that one. So all suggestions are fair game. Make a suggestion. Oh, right, the face. Okay. Sometimes break down grammar sentences. Dragon Quest 11. Good suggestions. And yeah, we will be doing more of that. So good suggestion, Obnoxious. Russian lessons, that sounds interesting. Good comment. We can try that someday, maybe. I'll put my one Russian word that I know to good use. Kartoshka means potato. I can use that. My power level is 1 in Russian. Not game related. Regular Japanese videos. Yeah, good suggestion. We may be doing some more of that someday. A bigger cat cam, good suggestion. Something to think about. Game demos. Yeah, I agree, and that's something I've thought about too. Good suggestion, Unboxes. I've noticed that on YouTube, by far our highest viewed videos are the first in a series. It usually goes down then by like 10 times. So yeah, doing a lot of different demos could make sense. Power level 0 streams. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, starting from the beginning. And that's actually something I've thought of. So we may do something like that someday. He has a YouTube. Yeah, we have a YouTube, and check out our YouTube, subscribe, because we will be making new and exclusive content there that can be carrying out some of these ideas. For example, we might teach Japanese from the beginning, basic lessons, at some point there. Listening practice would be nice, where it's all Japanese. Nice, good suggestion. Beginner recommendations, cool. SoCal says, I would like to see lesser known cultural aspects of Japan, like folktales, rituals, shrines. And that gets a second, nice. Add in JP study to the cultural elements. Nice suggestions. Yeah, our main core theme here is obviously video games. But I like that at some times we can use video games and the language as springboards into learning about other deeper cultural issues. Learn more about different parts of Japan, that's a good one. Different areas of Japan. Learning more Japanese games like Shogi, Hanafuda. Good one too. We did play Shogi once. If you want to Google it, you can find our YouTube for that. Basic Japanese history. Yeah, that's one that could be good for me too, my history. I should really read a book on that. Like Aomori is famous for maguro. It's also famous for apples. I went to Aomori recently. I recommend checking it out. Some great hiking there as well. Hanafuda is really fun. Have a card deck made by Nintendo. Really? Interesting. I'm not that familiar with that game, actually. Karuta is a card game I know more about. From that anime I mentioned, Chihaya Furu. Chihaya Furu is anime. I do recommend it. Okay, great suggestions, everyone. I think we will end the stream here. So I will say, ja! お疲れ様でした。じゃ、またね。今日は楽しかった。See you guys next time. Japanese Quest will continue. This has been Japanese Quest 180. You might have noticed we're now marking them by number so we can see our progress, not just in the power level, but also in the number of Japanese Quest. Each is its own episode, kind of like a podcast or a show. So welcome, see you next time. If you want to keep watching the show, feel free to subscribe on YouTube or follow or subscribe on Twitch. And we will see you next time. Ja, mata ne. Let's host someone today. Who shall we host today? We always host someone. Our goal also is to power up Japanese in general. So today I think we will host Kaori BSP. She's a bilingual idol who speaks English and Japanese. Let's host her. We often auto-host her. So let's host her again today. Ja, mata ne. See you guys next time. Great questions and answers today. We will see you next time. Japanese Quest will continue. Ja, mata ne.